So I get the question all the time, how do you have such a clear fish finder image? Well, I've got you covered. Now, the good news is fish finders come a long way over the years, and now especially out of the box with their auto tuning functions. But with a few enhancements, you can increase your quality of your image even more. This is going to help you enhance what those sonar pings are reading. Let's hop in. So quick refresher, sonar stands for sound navigation and ranging. Essentially what is happening, you're sending sound waves down, it's going to bounce off of whatever's down there, come right back up to the transducer, and then it's going to interpret it and plot it on your graph. So the harder the object is going to get a stronger return. The softer the object, like mud, you're going to get a weaker return. So here's a few things you can do in order to fine tune those settings so you can get the best return possible. Number one is mounting your transducer correctly. You don't want that transducer in a place with a lot of bubbles or a lot of current, because you're going to get something called interference, and interference is going to give you an unclear image. So interference in a fish finder refers to the unwanted signals that distort the display, making it challenging to accurately read the sonar data. This can manifest as noise or clutter, appearing as random dots or lines on the screen. This is going to make it very difficult for you to determine what is a fish and what is structure and what is not. Proper mounting helps minimize these issues and ensure a clear and accurate image. Now let's talk about your sensitivity or gain or contrast. Now these are typically going to be pretty good out of the box, but with a few tweaks, you can really get it to your liking. So contrast is the difference between the lightest and darkest part of your image, while gain is going to refer to your reflectivity or your brightness. So when you think of the sensitivity setting on your fish finder, I want you to think of it as a filter, because by turning it up or turning it down, it doesn't affect the power of your soundings. What it's doing, it is filtering out those echoes and then plotting them on your graph. Turning up the sensitivity is going to filter less echoes for you, which by doing that can actually clutter your screen. And when you turn down the sensitivity, you're actually filtering out more echoes. So if you turn it all the way down, you may see nothing on your screen. Now, this is personal preference for everybody. I like mine around 75 to 85%, but the next time you're out on the water, start messing with that a little bit, and you might start noticing bait fish or structure or actual larger fish that you never were able to identify before. You might be amazed at what you are missing. Now keep in mind, if you typically fish a body of water that is super clear and you move to a body of water that is actually really muddy, you might want to fine tune those sensitivity settings in order to filter out those echoes. And number three is choosing the right frequency. You want to make sure that your fish finder and transducer can read effectively at the depths you're fishing. So let me break this down for you, as I love to do, because I just don't love telling people what to do, but telling them why. So a frequency is the number of cycles per second an electronic signal completes, or essentially how many sound waves you are sending through the water. And as you may have guessed, different frequencies are better for different water conditions. First, you have your single frequency fish finders. These, as you guessed it, just one frequency that is fixed for the entire scanning process. So essentially they're going to work really well kind of in shallow water. It's going to help you identify large structure. However, if you're looking for a detailed image or kind of the difference between a small bait fish and a larger fish, this is going to be difficult. These are going to be your really cheap fish finders that you're going to find on Amazon. We're talking sub $100. And next you have your dual frequency fish finder. That higher frequency is going to give you that better image clarity. That lower frequency is going to be a lot better for that deep water fishing, as it's going to penetrate more effectively. And next you're going to have your multiple frequency fish finder. This is going to be your chirp. It's going to emit a range of frequencies that can adjust their frequency in real time, really producing extremely detailed and accurate images. They are highly effective in various water conditions, but often more expensive, but not always. I ran a chirp, which stands for compressed high intensity radiated pulse, that I ran for years on my Garmin Striker 4 on my kayak, and I just checked on Amazon. Right now they're running for $120. My recommendation for an entry-level fish finder, especially if you're in a fishing kayak. All that to say, what you're going to want to pay attention to is the depth and the clarity of the water you're fishing. Higher frequencies work really well in shallow water, lower frequencies, and deeper water. Also remember that clear water allows for a higher penetration of those high frequencies. And murky or really turbulent water is going to interfere a lot with that high frequency signal, really making that lower frequency a lot more suitable if that's a scenario that you're in. Now, the next setting I have for you is if you have side scan. And so I run a Garmin UHD 92 SV, and whenever I run my side scan, I'm sometimes 80 to 100 feet out doing structure scans. But whenever I locate a structure that I want to fish, I get closer to it and I decrease it maybe down to 40, maybe 60 feet. And that's going to give me a lot more detailed image of what I'm looking at on that side scan. So essentially decrease the range if you want better clarity. So next, you might want to consider changing the color palette on your fish finder. So many fish finders out there have color palettes that's going to include Deeper, Garmin, and Humminbird. The Deeper, the Pro and Chirp models have 3 color palettes to choose from. I think it's classic, day, and night. And then Humminbird, you can actually choose of one of 12 color palettes and adjust the sensitivity and sharpness, really customizing your screen to match your water conditions and make it easier to identify structure and fish. Now, if you're colorblind or can only see certain colors, this might be another attribute for you. Maybe you want to look into a fish finder that has different color palettes so that you personally are going to be able to read that better. Number 6, I actually have a Burley Pro sun visor on my Garmin UHD 92 SV. Now, it's not perfect, right? But essentially what you're doing is limiting angles of the sun. And a lot of times that is giving me an advantage of when I typically wouldn't be able to see my fish finder because of the glare. I now can see it because I cut down those angles. Now, if you're out there looking for a fish finder, keep in mind that there's a lot of models that are coming out with IPS screens, which is in plane switching. So what this is going to allow you to do is actually see that fish finder from angles you typically wouldn't have because of the glare of the sun. So pretty sweet technology coming out. Make sure if you're looking for one, check it out. See if they have an IPS screen. If not, you can always get a visor. Now, something that may be of interest to you, forward-facing sonar. Lowrance just came out with a version for only $999. However, there's a catch. You want to check that out right there. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you.